Okay, so this is an introduction to music notation. And of course, in notation, you hear the word note. Notes are written on a staff, and what you're looking at right now are five lines, five horizontal lines, and in between the lines you have four spaces, and that is called the staff. The musical notes on the staff indicate what note to sing or play. However, you cannot identify the notes without a clef on the staff. Here you have the treble clef, here you have the bass clef, and this is the alto clef. Now, these clefs pinpoint the location of a note on your musical instrument. So, in other words, um, since this is a treble clef, I know, for instance, that this first line is E and it's three notes away from middle C on the piano. If it was the bass clef that was in the beginning of the staff, usually it's one clef per staff. If it was a bass clef, then I would know that based on the symbol and those two dots that this is F, and this is called bass F. And I would know also that bass F is located, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes away from middle C on the piano. Okay? And then on the alto clef, I know that right here between these two, uh, right in the middle, this is wherever this rests, the middle of this symbol, that's where C is located. All right, so now we have the notes, the rest, and their value in bits. This is called the whole note. The whole note is a circle, and its equivalent is the whole rest, and they are worth 4 bits. So what does that mean? So when you see a whole note, you play it and you hold it for 4 bits. So let's say this was a note that was on E, for instance, on the treble clef, and I'm singing E. I'm holding it for 4 bits. Now for rest, since this is a whole rest, if there was a whole rest in a measure, I would keep silent for 4 beats. So a note is played and a rest is not played. It's just counted, its value is counted in silence. So you have the whole note, the half note. The whole note and the half note both okay, so this part of the note here is called a head. The whole note only is made up of a head. Okay? And it's not filled in inside. It's just sort of a circle, so to speak. And so this is the head. Now a half note is made up of a head and a stem, STEM. So the whole note is worth 4 bits. The half note is worth 2 bits. And the equivalent of the half note in rest would be the half rest. And it's worth 2 bits. Okay? So you have the whole note, which is worth 4 bits. The half note is worth 2 bits. The quarter note is worth 1 bit. and the eighth note is worth half a beat. Now notice, each note that comes after is worth half the value of the note that precedes it. So you have 4 beats, half of 4 is 2, half of 2 is 1, half of 1 is half. Whole note is worth 4 beats, just like the whole rest is worth 4 beats. The half note is worth 2 beats. The half rest is worth 2 beats. The quarter note is worth 1 beat. The quarter rest is worth 1 beat. The eighth note is worth half a beat, and the eighth rest is worth half a beat. And then you have the 16th note, which is worth quarter of a beat, and the 16th rest is worth quarter of a beat. The 32nd note is worth 1/8 of a beat, and the 32nd rest is worth also 1/8 of a beat. And the 64th note is worth 1/16 of a beat, and the 64th rest is worth 1/16 of a beat. Okay, now let's go back to the previous notes. So you have their shapes. So you have the whole note, which is sort of an oval, circly type shape, which is not filled in the middle. Then you have the half note, which is also a head with a stem, and it's not filled in. Then you have the quarter note that resembles the half note, except that it's filled in. Then you have the eighth note, which resembles the quarter note, but it has a flag. The eighth note has a flag. The eighth rest looks like a 7. Again, it looks like a 7 with one flag, right? And then you have the 16th note, 16th rest, which looks like a 7th with 2 flags. The 32nd rest looks like a 7 with 3 flags, and the 64th rest looks like a 7 with 4 flags. Okay? All right. So now you have the notes on the treble clef, lines and spaces. So the notes on the treble clef lines are E, G, B, D, F. The notes on the spaces are F, A, C, E. And that's for the treble clef. Now the notes for the bass clef, for the lines are, the bass clef looks sort of like a line with 2 dots, okay? So you have G, B, D, F, A. And then the spaces are A, C, E, and G. All right? Now, when you put them together, let's say on the Gwen staff, first of all, let's talk about the Gwen staff. The Gwen staff consists of 2 musical staves joined together by a brace, which is right here on the left side. The upper staff uses the treble clef, while the lower staff uses the bass clef. Okay? All right, so as this indicates, this musical notation system is mostly used for piano music and other instruments with a wide range, including the organ, the harp, marimba, and accordion. Right? The 2 staves are connected by vertical bar lines that run through both staves, creating one unified system. So these vertical lines are called bar lines, B-A-R. Right here, you have bar lines, okay? And then, so let's move on. So now, the notes that are on the Gwen staff, right? Right? Is an invisible line where middle C is located. Of course, right here, that's middle C. Okay? When you leave let's say if you're coming from the bass clef, you're looking at when you're counting, when you're reading both lines, space, lines and space, and lines and space without skipping a note. So you have G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, and then after the last line, which is A, then you have this space, which is B, and then you would be middle C. Notice there's a small line inside middle C, which is called ledger line, Ledger. The ledger line indicates that this is middle C and not B or D. If there was a line here on inside of this note, then we would have to say it's middle C. And likewise, okay? Because between the treble clef and the bass clef, there are only three notes: B, middle C, and D. And then as you continue, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. Now, just because we stop there doesn't mean that this is where that limits the number of notes that you have on an instrument. Not at all, because if you're looking at the piano, for instance, you see different octaves. If you went from middle C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, you see, if as you're looking at the piano, that there are more notes, of course, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So that means really the only reason why you don't see more of these ledger lines for more notes is because it depends. You only use those additional lines called ledger lines when it's needed. The music that was written, or if you're the writer writing the story, the music, depending on where on the instrument you're writing the notes to be played, that will determine where on the staff the notes are located and whether or not you need to use more ledger lines or not.